All freight dispatchers are not created equal. I'll say it again. All freight dispatchers are not created equal. Most dispatchers can find freight, but if your dispatcher is not organized, methodical, analytical, or experienced, your company may be missing the bus, because most dispatchers fall short in maximizing freight opportunities. And what do I mean by that? Every factor counts: traffic, weather, time zones. When does a particular broker's market open and close? Knowing when to place bids, knowing where to find the best load opportunities, knowing the various type of freight cycles. Is the freight seasonal versus cyclical? Knowledge of specialized freight. When does the carrier need a permit? What regions are the manufacturers located in? Who are the major brokers? And when does that type of freight move? Again, what am I talking about? I'm talking about lane development. The average dispatcher can't give you that. I'm not here to talk about any particular dispatch company. That's not the purpose of this video. Let's face it, the fact is motor carriers need dispatchers. No matter how big or small your trucking company is, someone has to manage the process from cradle to grave. Bids, onboarding, communication, contracts, paperwork, factoring companies, OS&D, meaning the overages, shortages, and damages, emails, etc., etc., etc. Hi, my name is Kyle. I'm an operations manager for Interstate Transport Service. We provide motor carrier services throughout North America. In addition, the founder of iCai Logistic Partners LLC. We provide full house dispatching services to small and mid-sized motor carriers. I'm a business major, consultant, and rainmaker. I bridge the gap when it comes to applying technology towards business applications. I've been in the transportation industry since 2005. I've worked for two of the largest carriers in the United States and two smaller fleet companies. In this video, I will pull back the curtain and give you a sneak peek at a few tools that we use in our management process when it comes to freight lane development. So, stay tuned. Choosing the right dispatch service for your trucking company is extremely important. A good dispatch service starts off by listening to the carrier's needs. This video will show you some valuable tools that will save you a lot of time, money, and energy, no matter if you have one truck or a small fleet. Working relationships with brokers are important. The more brokers you have, the more freight options you have. We have access to over 120 brokers. Knowledge of equipment is important as well. We handle various types of commodities from FAK, from freight of all kinds, auto parts, food goods, electronics, machinery to military vehicles. With that out the way, I'll try to keep this video as short as possible. Some dispatchers may use a TMS, that's an acronym for Transportation Management Software, and some of us like myself have a customized system that works just as well. If you made it this far in the video, the chances are you're familiar with the industry or have an interest in it. So I'm not going to talk about the basic necessities like a computer setup with multiple screens, high-speed internet, phone systems, carrier profiles, carrier authority, carrier agreements, insurance, and yada 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 yada. The topic of this video is to how to choose the right dispatching service with a focus on lane development. So more specifically, we'll be taking a look at where to start with lane development. How do we design, plan, implement, monitor, and control? So I'll explain what a compendium is and how we use it in our day-to-day routine, such as getting to the load boards, type of load boards, weather maps, maps for calculating distance, and more. I'll explain hot market maps and how to locate the type of freight you want to pull. I'll also explain national freight rates, spot market versus the contract rates. I'll explain where to start with lane development and load planning. And when I say load planning, please understand that load planning is a broad term used to describe many different processes throughout the transportation industry. As an example, if you're talking load planning for manufacturers, they could be focused on moving raw materials in place for manufacturing finished goods. As dispatchers, when we say load planning, we're simply talking about shippers and receivers. Where are we picking up and where are we taking it to deliver? Sounds simple, right? Hold up, pump your brakes. It's not quite that simple. We are in the first step of designing. We have a system in place to get the info. We use a compendium, which I will thoroughly explain in a moment. Now we start planning. A few keys we need to gather from the motor carrier, such as what states do they want to run and which states they don't want to run. For an example, unless a carrier has an experienced driver, most carriers don't. I repeat, do not want their drivers going to New York City. New York and Philly and some places in New Jersey can be quite a challenge for semi-tractor trailers. Low bridges, narrow one-way streets, and not to mention the illegal aspects, which I won't be explaining in this video. Perhaps we'll do a video about driving in New York another time. Okay, so before planning, we need to know the driver's style. Does the driver drive hard, meaning that he's going to take it to the legal limits and maximizing his hours of service? Is he a middle of the road, meaning that he wants a good mix of long and short distances? Or possibly, are we dispatching for a driver that can only drive a short distance? What states does the carrier prefer to run in? How long does the carrier want to be out on the road versus scheduling home time? And of course, the type of equipment that the carrier will be running. Is it a dry van, reefer, RGN, etc.? Once we have these keys, we want to check the highest paying loads in the 4 regions. Let's keep this simple. For the purpose of this video demonstration, when I say 4 regions, just imagine 4 time zones: Pacific, Mountain, Central, and Eastern. Okay, so now we've got the 4 keys and we understand the 4 regions. Let's get to the scenario. We're dispatching a driver who can stay out for 2 weeks at a time. He's a strong driver where we can maximize his hours of service and drive time, and there are no restricted states to drive in. Once we know his style, let's take a quick look at the overview of what's trending. Follow me to the compendium. Okay, this is our compendium. So what is a compendium? It's just a fancy word for a collection of important information. A library of links, if you will. The advantage is that I can hover, point, and click. Whoops, let me cover up my passwords. Basically, the way it works, it looks like a regular list. This is a list of my 24 favorite my favorite brokers. And I can scan these every day. The way the compendium works is that it saves all the information, the links, so I don't have to remember how to spell a specific website address. So I just simply point and click. When it comes to logging in, it's going to save all my credentials in the background, so I can just go to where I need to without having to validate. And as you can see, the nicety of this, if I dig deeper, I can take a look at my fleet. I can manage my fleet, take a look at my drivers, blase. Okay, so let me get out of here for a second. Going back to the case scenario, when it comes to lane development, what we want to do is, in this case scenario, this driver, he was driving a van. He could be driving a flatbed or a reefer, but for this case scenario, he's driving a van. First thing you want to do in lane development is you want to take a look at the national van rates. Okay, what this tells us, it's showing us in the West Coast, Midwest, the New England states, Southeast, and then South Central is showing us what those national van rates are. Okay, so let's say we're starting out here in Manassas in the Mid-Atlantic. I can send that driver up here into Chicago, preferably not, because I know the tolls will tear us up or tear the carrier up if we're dispatching for them. So you don't want to do that. So right now we may want to send him either up into New England states or over into the South Central. But let's take a look. One of the important features, or one of the important aspects of using this, is because freight evolves every day. What happens is dispatchers get comfortable and they stop looking at it. They might look at this one time and then, they forget. For some reason, I don't know why they forget, but every day, just because it's this rate today does not mean that it's going to be this rate tomorrow. So you need to, you need to find, if you're looking for the right dispatcher, you need to find somebody that's actually utilizing these tools. Okay, so after you find or locate the national van rates, you want to take a look at the hot market map. Okay, also known as market conditions. Okay, so coming out of Manassas, Virginia. Okay, apply filter. What this is, let me explain the colors. You have a color scale right here. Blue is cold. That means this is actually tracking the load to truck ratio. Meaning right now in this blue area, there's only roughly close to 3 loads per truck that's available in this Manassas, or everywhere you can see in the outlining areas of Manassas. So we would have to send that truck most likely into a hot area, which is up in Maryland, which is only 80 miles away, like Baltimore, major city. Baltimore is about 80 miles away, or send him down into the south. So we don't know yet. So let's take a look. That's just the prior day, but let's filter it and take a deep look for the last 7 days. Apply the filter. It's going to change just a little bit. Okay, so we can see, we're starting here. We want to grab freight most likely out of Maryland or Southwest Virginia. and we said we're sending him to the south, which is probably here, that would be Houston. Let's zoom in. Okay. Yep, Houston area. Okay. So, all right. So what have we done so far? Let's get out of this. What we've done is we've taken a look at the national van rates, and we've also taken a look at the hot market map. So we know we're most likely going to do a search from Manassas, Virginia to Houston. So let's get into it. Well, I have a broken link. Sorry. Let me see. Go right here. Sorry about that. And we're going to do a search on Manassas, Virginia to Houston. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to sort that rate. I always sort for the money, when I'm doing this. So we can see right here you've got, let me try to zoom in, that's 198 miles. This means deadhead. DHO is deadhead from Manassas. That's where we're doing a search. So Baltimore, like I said, okay, let's get out of there. So Baltimore, we see that we've got a load for $2,500. Most likely we want to call this broker and we want to put a bid in. The best time to put bids in is when you've got a lot of freight. And right now, it looks like we've got 108 total results for that particular lane. We want to call as many brokers as you can, unless you just want to book a load. If you're okay with that load and you know that this offer, these are offers. If you don't see an offer and it's blank, that means you need to put a bid in, or you need to call and get a negotiated contract. Okay, so that pretty much does it. These are the tools that we use when it comes to developing a lane. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments at the bottom, and I'll try to get to the comments. I'll try to respond. If there's any particular content that you would like to see reviewed or presented, again, just leave a comment. But this is going to complete the video. Again, this was a video about lane development. It was about, more specifically, how to choose the right dispatcher for your trucking company. Are they using the proper freight lane development tools? Again, how to choose the right dispatcher for your trucking company. Are they using freight lane development tools? Thank you.